Welcome to this episode of Q&A with Liturgy Man. I'm Taylor Burton-Edwards, Liturgy Man with Discipleship Ministries of the United Methodist Church. I'm your apportionment dollars at work to help you strengthen worship and the understanding of worship where you are. Today's question comes to us from Monica Beecham of North Carolina Conference, who noted a particular part of the ordinal, our services for the ordering of ministry in the United Methodist Church, and that she had a question about. And that question was about the last paragraph of the ordinal, section C, number 2, which says this: non-ordained spouses and family members of candidates for ordination or commissioning should not participate in the laying on of hands. Family members and friends may be invited to stand where they are for silent prayer during the laying on of hands for a candidate. Why is that language there? It's not actually explained. But I can tell you why that language is there and why the whole paragraph is constructed the way it was, because I was the editor of the ordinal at the time that this was developed and was helping to negotiate the conversations between the Council of Bishops, our ecumenical organization at the time, the General Commission on Christian Unity and Interreligious Concerns, and Discipleship Ministries, and the General Board of Higher Education and Ministry, so that we would have a paragraph that met our sense of the needs of all the parties that are involved in this, particularly the needs that were identified here by the Council of Bishops. The Council of Bishops identified two problems with what was going on in ordination services prior to the introduction of this language. And the problems were, I should say, was one problem, too many people on the stage, but of two sort of dimensions. There was an ecumenical problem, and then there was the sort of basic too many people on the stage problem. The ecumenical problem is that in most of our other partner denominations and ecumenical relationships that we have, the only person or persons who lay hands on the candidates are the bishop, is the only one who lays hands on the head. And then if there are others, it would be others of the same order who would be laying on hands. So if it's elders being ordained, you might have other elders who might be able to lay hands on the back or shoulders, but not on the head. Likewise, if it's deacons, you might have other deacons laying on hands in the action of laying on hands at ordination. Nobody else, no laity are involved in that. At the same time, our bishops wanted to affirm our understanding, and as United Methodists, of the role of the laity, including in ordination and including in the laying on of hands. So it was not a desire to so much to exclude people, or particularly not exclude the laity as a whole from this action, but rather to find a way and to find a model that would enable us to include the laity in a way that would be understandable to our ecumenical partners, but also reduce the practical problem of way too many people on the stage and no way to control those numbers easily. So this is what we came up with. We looked at the baptismal ritual as a kind of sense of a model for what we thought would be a helpful way to go forward with this. In baptismal ritual, you will remember that at the very beginning of it, there's the note that a lay representative of the congregation may present the candidates for baptism. Often that's going to be the lay leader who does that. So you have a defined person whose role is clearly from the laity and represents the whole of the laity without everyone being there during the actual act of presentation. Our sense was that's a really good way to understand a parallel to what's happened with the role of the laity in ordination, because the laity essentially are presenting the candidate for ordination by and large for the act of ordination to take place. And so if there's anyone who's going to be present involved in the laying on of hands, it should be someone who represents the laity and in a holistic kind of way, as this initiative of the church in a representative way acting in ordination, starting with a bishop and then involving other people. So if you read the whole of that subparagraph too, what you will see is that what we've crafted is an approach that allows for a specific limited number of laity who represent all of the laity in the church, probably the conference lay leaders, to be present and to lay hands with people of the same order as the person being ordained. So that follows that ecumenical precedent. And with other ecumenical guests who, if they're bishops, could also lay hands on the head if that's permitted in their polity. So that's the story of how we got to where we are. It was not about excluding the laity. It was actually about trying to find a way to include laity without creating a traffic jam, and to include laity in a way that makes sense of the role of laity per se in our polity, in which ordination happens not as part of the role of the family, but as part of the role of the church leadership through the life of the clergy and the laity in partnership, and modeling that here in ordination actions. Hope this has been helpful. Remember, you can always contact me, worship@liturgyfolks.com, through the UMC Worship Facebook group, or, like Monica did, drop a line on this page. And perhaps your question or comment will become the basis for a future episode of Q&A with Liturgy Man. The peace of Christ be always with you.